Real YouTube is wake up early to look at new Pokemon that are shaped like frog. I'm gonna be honest, I actually had a different intro in mind when I started singing, but I was like, I think I can do better. So I changed it on the fly and I think it worked out okay. I think the lesson is be prepared, but don't be afraid to change the plan. Anyway, hello, good morning. It's morning for me. I hate being awake. Today we're gonna be talking about the new Pokemon that was just revealed like 10 minutes ago when I'm recording this. Bellibolt. Bellibolt being the new Pokemon that was just revealed this morning. I am very good at YouTube. So it's early, excuse me. Basically, Bellibolt is really cool for one particular reason. Let's talk about it. So they revealed a trailer. They didn't show off too much, except that number one, this thing is adorable and really funny looking, and I love it. And they did share a little bit of data about it on the website. So it's relatively short, but relatively heavy, which probably indicates it's not going to be super fast. It doesn't look like it'd be super fast. So there were a couple things in the trailer that do indicate that it like I believe Iono says like it can move fast when it wants to, and one of the animations that they play also allows it to move fast. So we'll see about its speed. We really can only speculate there, but there's a couple things that are confirmed via this trailer. The first is that it is a pure electric type. Now we assume this thing looks to me like a final form of a Pokemon. I don't think it's going to evolve, so we're going to treat this as if it's a final form. Pure electric is a pretty good typing, having only one weakness and pretty decent offensive coverage, only resisted by like grass, ground, dragon, and electric, I believe. Electric in general is just a really good type, but there's something really interesting about this Pokemon that they revealed, and that is the new ability Electromorphosis, excuse me. So if we scroll down, shares a bit of data about it, or a bit of the background. Belly button generates electricity. They're showing it off here, and then it's slow. It's difficult to train Bellibolt to initiate a battle without it being attacked first. And then this is just that it's hungry. Me too, buddy. But here's the interesting thing. So new ability, Electromorphosis. Bellibolt's ability, Electromorphosis, is a new ability appearing for the first time in these titles. Bellibolt becomes charged. It's a very important word, which we'll talk about in a second. When hit by an attack, boosting the power of the next electric type move it uses. And then we see here, Bellibolt's Electromorphosis. Being hit by Aquatail charged Bellibolt with power. This is very interesting. So what does it mean to be charged? Well, normally, actually it tells us here, it means that when it becomes charged, the next electric attack type attack that it uses will be powered up. Now here's where this is interesting. So there's actually an attack called charge in the games. It's not typically thought to be very good. It was used a little bit by a creative player in like 2012, 2013, but hasn't ever really seen some success. Here's what the move charge does. Boosts power of user's next electric type attack by 100%. 100% damage increase from the move charge. It also raises the user special events by one stage. I don't think that will carry over. Most, if not all, electric types get it. Yeah, it's basically like you wouldn't use it normally because you'd rather just use Thunderbolt or your electric type attack twice rather than using charge and then doubling your power. So it's not very commonly considered to be good. Yeah, like especially in the metagames that we've had, like maybe it would have had some niche use cases, but in general, it's not considered very good at all. Because it takes 2 turns, right? You charge for 1 turn and then you attack on the next. It's more of a gimmick than anything else. The thing is, with Bellibolt Electromorphosis, it doesn't require that charging turn. So I don't know if it's going to keep that 100% damage increase, but if it does, it could be very, very, very powerful. Because so like the first thing that comes to mind is like, let's say you had something like Tailwind, Whimsicott, or Tornadus, right? You could protect in Tailwind, and then next turn you could use a very weak move like Beat Up with Whimsicott, Brutal Swing with Tornadus, right? And attack your own Bellibolt, and then you could use a Thunderbolt and have it basically be doubling your power every turn. And that would allow you to have like a supportive Pokemon in Tailwind while also keeping an offensive, like while still allowing them to do offensive pressure by like basically doubling the damage output of Bellibolt. So it really depends on the stats, of course. Like we can't say too much about this, but I think that it actually has potential. And when we consider like Terra Electric Bellibolt, so you get the Terra type boost, the Electromorphosis boost, the stab boost, that's a lot. That's a lot of damage multipliers. So, as with everything in Pokemon, the stats matter a lot, is the truth. So if this thing has really horrible speed, such that Tailwind can't even save it, although it honestly, that same strategy would work in Trick Room as well. Like you could just get it in Trick Room, but Tailwind is typically considered a little bit more, a little bit more, like not consistent. Trick Room is better overall, but yeah, Tailwind is for offensive strategies. Tailwind is typically the go-to. But yeah, depending on the speed stat, you could use it in Tailwind, you can use it in Trick Room. The thing is, if it has really horrible, like abysmal offensive stats, then like Electromorphosis isn't going to save it. And also, just because the move charge doubles the power of the next electric move, there's no guarantee that that's going to be the case with this. Like, it could very easily be a 50% damage increase, a 33% damage increase, a 20% damage increase. Like, that multiplier really matters a lot. And even though we have some data on what the charge condition does, because charge isn't used very often, it could be like, I think it's unlikely that they have the move charge and Electromorphosis give a different multiplier, which is why I think that it's pretty likely that it's 2x. But they could also just, like, charge is never used anyway, so that it wouldn't be ridiculous for them to, like, just weaken, like, in order to balance Bellibolt, to just weaken charge overall, because it doesn't really affect anything, you know what I mean? So yeah, so there's a lot that we don't know about this Pokemon right now, but from what we do know, I think it looks really interesting, and I think that the ability is really neat, and I'm sure there's other use cases as well. Like, I talked about kind of intentionally self-activating this condition, like this thing, but you could also just probably train it to be super bulky, invest all of your points in defense, and then have it just be really balanced, or like, yeah, have it function as like a really, because the electric is a pretty decent defensive type, being only weak to ground. So if you have really good natural bulk, and this thing looks like it should be bulky, right? I mean, it's so rotund. So if you just have really good natural bulk, then what you could do is just train this thing to be super defensive and take hits, and rely on basically say to the opponent, like, okay, well, if you want to get rid of me, you're gonna have to hit me a couple times, and every time you hit me, I double my damage output. That's pretty interesting. A stat like that could also be used as like kind of a, like, depending on moveset, of course. If it gets moves like Electroweb and probably won't get String Shot. I'm just trying to, I couldn't remember if there was, or like Eerie Impulse, for example. Like, it could be used as a supportive Pokemon that could also do damage at the same time. Yeah. So anyway, all this to say, I think it's a really interesting concept for a Pokemon that if it takes damage, it does more damage. If it takes damage, it does more damage. Yeah. I think it's a really cool concept for a Pokemon, and I'm honestly really excited about it because I think it's really unique, and a lot of new abilities that they add don't really change the way, like, they don't really change the way that Pokemon fundamentally play, but I think that this is an opportunity where this new ability could actually really fundamentally change. Like, it could add, like, it's a different dimension of how people play Pokemon. There's not a lot of Pokemon where, like, you need it to take some damage, but you don't want it to take too much damage, because then it will get KO'd. I'm sure there's other cases that I'm not thinking of, but it seems really interesting is what I'm trying to say. So I think that's all I have to say about this. I'm really curious what you all think. I mean, obviously it's super cute. I'm sure that will be a common theme. So yeah, just let me know what you think in the comments, and if you have anything else that you want to say about it. And I think that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.